I've got to say, if I was to ever commit a crime, it would have to be in these. Outrageous.
Perfect.
Hello there broskis, Erkin back here. But if you're new, this is the life of a broski, where I do sneaker unboxings and reviews. So if that's right up your alley, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And broskis, being the Air Force One connoisseur that I am, on today's episode, I am reviewing the Nike Air Force One Gore-Tex. So broskis, we are going to look at the box before we dive into this sneaker. And I've got to say, I'm really happy with this. And I've got to say, I'm actually really happy with this box. We've gone for the stealthy Air Force One box with the metallic Nike Air Force One branding there, with a hint of Gore-Tex branding there. Inside, well, with the trainers, of course, I've taken it off by now, we have got the Gore-Tex stamp. And you know it's official when you get this tag on an Air Force. And it does read, guaranteed to keep you dry, Gore-Tex products. So the product information on the tag reads Air Force One Gore-Tex, anthracite, black and barely grey. What do you think broskis? Are you a fan of this box? Do you like the subtle Gore-Tex branding? Or you don't give a monkeys? Leave that down below. So broskis, that's out the way. Let's get into the sneakers. Now these were actually released on the 29th of October of this year, and I have done reviews previously of the Air Force One and Gore-Tex collabs. So if you do want to check those videos out, I will leave some links down below. And also, whilst you're down there, if you're interested in getting a pair, I'm going to leave some purchase links too. Now these are retailing at £130 in the UK. And yes, I know broskis, taking a biscuit a little bit, because compared to the normal Air Force One, I think that goes for around £80 now. So that's a whole £50 I had to double check. But what exactly are you paying for that more expensive price? Gore-Tex are very well known. So if you didn't know, Gore-Tex are actually very well known for their waterproof clothing and accessories. So of course the broski had to include a waterproof test. Yes, he did. So make sure you're staying tuned for that. Now broskis, this colorway is of course the black, anthracite and barely grey colour, and I've got to say this is the colorway that I think should have come out in the first place. I think the first colorways that did come out didn't really hit the ground running, you know. Now this Air Force One Gore-Tex, the black panels on this sneaker that consist of the synthetic and actual leather panels just really go together with that barely grey and anthracite colorway. So we've got the same materials on the toe box alongside the mid panels on the underlays, and I'm gonna say it's like a nylon mesh, and it really does have a nice texture to the fabric. Now going around the toe box is that synthetic leather panel, which feels a lot harsher compared to the back panels and the Nike swooshes. Because they are obviously real leather, it has a nice softer feel. Now on the lateral side, we've got that Gore-Tex branding stitched in white, and again we've got that Gore-Tex branding on the tongue alongside that Nike writing. Now the tongue feels very similar to the toe box in terms of the materials. Now we've got the Gore-Tex material which covers all of the inside, so that gives me a bit more confidence when it comes to the waterproofing. Now we've got the anthracite midsole. In terms of aesthetics, it looks like your average Air Force One, but straight away I can definitely feel the difference on foot, just in terms of the stiffness and of course the weight. So it makes this sneaker feel a little bit more rugged and a little bit more durable, and that's what you want from a sneaker that's aiming more for the winter months. Now on the outsole is your conventional Air Force One styling in that black colorway. Now broskis, this sneaker, is a monster of an Air Force One. This is every roadman's dream, to own an Air Force of this caliber. Look at this. I'm a bit nervous looking at this trainer. I feel like it's just gonna rob me. Now broskies, before we talk about the sizing, the comfort, the on-foot feel, we're actually gonna pause and divert into this waterproof test. I am gonna put some of this tissue in the sneaker just to see if it comes out wet or if it's bone dry, just like this. So first up is the water bottle. Now we're just gonna be putting it on the toe box. And now I'm going to be pouring it on the mid panels. Now last but not least, I'm going to be pouring it over the tongue now, just to see if there's any leaks where the tongue and the laces are. I sense some wetness. Now this is actually wet. I'm not sure if it's because it leaks through over the tongue or just on top of the tongue, because it's not really seal proof on the top, more so towards the middle and the bottom. So the first tissue is wet. Now the moment of truth was actually the tissue at the front, which is obviously where the toe box is. Aha! There you go, broskies. Nice and dry, just as I thought it would be. So there you go, broskies. The Nike Air Force One Gore-Tex is indeed waterproof, water repellent, whatever you want to call it. The only reason the other tissue got wet was because I poured it around the top of it just to test that out as well. So broskies, there you have it. The Air Force One Gore-Tex waterproof test. And to be honest, I kind of expected it because I've done it before. And yes, I know in my last video to the Air Force One Gore-Tex, the waterproof test was actually in my bedroom. And the reason for that, if you've watched that video, I was just a bit nervous of getting my phone or my camera wet. But you live and learn, okay? Don't judge me. Now yes, I did on purpose pour water towards the top of the tongue, just because I knew there was a little bit of gap there in terms of that Gore-Tex material. So I just wanted to see if that water would leak through. But just as I expected, all of the panels that I wanted to be waterproof was actually waterproof. Now that we've got the biggest elephant in the room out of the way, there's just a little thing we need to talk about. And of course, I have to talk about the creasing. The classic Air Force One, even though it's a legendary sneaker, is very infamous because of that creasing to the toe box. And even though this sneaker sports that nylon textured feel on the toe box, I can still see these creasing very heavily. And because of that synthetic leather panel surrounding that toe box, I feel like it's gonna make it worse. My tried and trusted sneaker shields. So if you are thinking of getting a pair of sneaker shields, because I'm such a nice guy, I'll link them down below. Now in terms of the sizing, broskies, these do fit very much like your average Air Force One classic. So I will advise go half a size down to what you're used to. Now when it comes to the comfort of this sneaker, I'm not gonna lie, broskies, I'm not 100% sold. I don't think it's built for the purpose of being comfortable. I feel like it's more built for it being more durable and, like it says on the tin, more waterproof. So if you've got outdoor activities on your mind and you're looking for a trainer, this is one to consider. But if you're looking for an Air Force One as your daily sneaker in terms of comfort, in my opinion, I'd look elsewhere. It's got a very heavy feel because of that midsole, and because of that there isn't really much cushioning and it just lacks that comfort. So out of 10 for comfort, I'm gonna give a 6.5. Remember those action figures, Action Man? Remember him? And where did he go? I really felt like if Action Man wore a sneaker, he would be wearing these. I don't know why. Now this being a waterproof and weatherproof sneaker, this leads me on to my next point. Breathability and ventilation. Now Nike and Gore-Tex, I've got to take my hat off. Well, not literally, because the way my hairline's set up, you know, takes 3 to 5 business days for it to grow back, and I'm not really trying to risk losing subscribers. But the way they have implemented the materials inside and on the exterior, they've done a really good job when it comes to balancing that weatherproofing, but also keeping these as breathable as possible. So well done, Nike. Well done. Certainly not the best, but in terms of weatherproof and winter sneakers, they're actually right up there. So breathability, I'm gonna give a 7.5. Now broskies, the moment of truth. Is this sneaker a buy or a buy? Now I know that price tag might be still on your mind, and I'm not really blaming you, broskies. For 130 quid, you can almost get 2 of the normal Air Force Ones for that price. But I feel the uniqueness to this sneaker just adds something very different to your collection. And if the weather is really bad outside, or you're going on a trip where you know it's going to be very harsh conditions, I think this is one to consider. It has a very good balance of keeping these as functional as possible whilst also adding the waterproofing. A lot of sneakers that add weatherproofing to them, they lose a bit of functionality. And in my opinion, this sneaker, it does sacrifice a little bit of comfort, but it all comes down to what you really need these sneakers for. Overall, broskis, I am gonna give a buy. But broskis, let me know what you think. What is actually your go-to sneaker for the winter months? Are you thinking of getting this pair, or have you already got these? Leave all your comments down below, and of course I will be pinning the best one. Anyways broskis, that is enough waffle for one video, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, share, and of course, until the next episode, take care.